I hear the train a-coming.
So, why are you guys cheering for the Water Dogs today? Why do you think they're going to win?
Michael Sowers.
Michael.
And I see the sunshine.
Michael Sowers, one of the best players in collegiate history.
Michael Sowers can beat you with his right, can beat you with his left. Speed, jump shots. This guy has it all.
And they score. Wasting no. First, I will break your ankles, then I'll break your spirit.
Just immediately and aggressively goes right to the rack.
Like you versus one other guy.
Look, this isn't just a podcast, this is motivation. They be like, Rez training who? I just know they hate. We ain't being patient, cause that mean that we be waiting. We just seeing greatness, I don't want it if it's painless. But that's in the past tense. Since I put the weed down, I've been snapping. Always had the tools to make it happen. Whether it was playing ball or getting rapping. Wasn't one box, these niggas can have me trapped in. The cycle of a black man, I'm just trying to break it. All by myself, with them L's, I had to face it. Life is what you make it, you can't let nobody take it. Gotta watch out for them fakers, stack your bread, don't stay complacent. God's gift.
3, 2, 1! Happy New Year! 2025! We in the building!
Oh, yeah, I feel that
Stop
vibe.
playing!
I feel that
Oh
energy,
my
Showtime.
God!
I feel that
the
energy,
energy is
Showtime.
in the building!
I feel that.
Oh my goodness, it's everywhere!
I feel that.
Come on, man! Shout out to everybody that's tuned into the show. Welcome back to Showtime Speaks, the Keep Going podcast, the season of bringing dreams and bringing ideas to life. Another episode, man. So much motivation coming your way, man. Oh my goodness. What's going on, Kenny? What's up? We got to clean up now, man.
Oh, man. Hey, look. But look, bro. Whatever that feeling was, that's the feeling I'm going to have all 2025.
I ain't gonna
cap.
yo, that was crazy. Yo.
Now I know what it feel like to win that championship and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I ain't never been part of that.
That's the vibes right there,
Yeah,
bro.
for sure.
I mean, good God. The
For
3, 2, 1. We starting 2025 off with a bang.
100%.
Like, literally.
100%, bro.
Literally.
But it's good, bro. It's good to be here. A lot of good energy in the building. Again, bro, it's New Year. A lot to be thankful for 2024.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's a lot of ups, a lot of downs. But again, just want to thank God, take a chance to thank God.
Yeah, man.
Because we made it to another year, bro.
Yeah,
so I'm happy to say that. And I'm happy for what's to come. You know what I mean? I think I say this all the time. 2025 is going to be a year of uncomfortability. So I can grow. You know what I mean? We never grow in our comfort zone. So I really want to really get outside my comfort zone and, you know, do things to get out to grow. Yeah. So I'm excited for that, bro.
No,
sure.
yeah, bro. I feel the same way, man. I feel like this is gonna be the year for me of, you know, I'm grateful too. Thank you, God, for being here for another year. You know, 2025. And it's been a special 2024. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of things that, you know, I faced, and you know, I'm excited about 2025, man. About all the opportunities, the growth of Showtime Speaks, the community is building, the brand is building. We got the merch, we got the Keep Going stuff, we got Relentless merch on the way. You know, big shout out to Wave One. Just extremely excited. I feel like my thing for 2025 is really going to be following up. You know, I want to follow up better.
Yes, sir.
The conversations that I've started, the things that I've said I was going to do, just like how the podcast is with everything. You know, bringing all ideas, bringing all dreams to life, but also having to follow up, man, because we come across some really great people, bro, and we can have one conversation and then what happened?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm extremely excited about that, and you know, going forward in 2025.
Yeah, and just to say that, bro, following up don't even have to be like hitting them up all the time.
Yeah.
It could be on the holidays.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Like that's what I do on holidays. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Merry
Send a
Christmas.
little gift.
boom. And that goes a long way, bro.
No, 1,000%. As it pertains to all the subscribers, yes, you. Bring the camera real close right here. Come on. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. It's a button right there at the bottom, man. It says Showtime Speaks. It's the logo right there on YouTube, man. Make sure you follow us, man. Make sure you tune into what we're trying to do. Make sure you, come on, man. We need you. We need you. Come on. Let's go. We building a community, and you know what we got to do, man. Hit the like and subscribe button and continue to walk on this journey with us. You know what we got to do, Kenny. You know what we got to do,
I
Kenny.
know what you're going to say.
Big shout out to the sponsor. Cozy Jewelers.
Yes, sir.
The jeweler that keeps us cool. Oops, I
meant
meant Cozy. Stop playing.
Stop playing. You know what I'm going to say all the time.
Come on, man.
Shout out to my guy, Cozy. He got that custom piece, and I mean, with the diamonds in the R and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Go check him out. It's the holidays. Great dude, great people, family-owned business. Go holla at him.
Yeah. The moment of truth right now, man. We got a huge guest in the building.
Big yes, the GOAT.
I mean, I'm talking about one of the greatest lacrosse players to come out of the state of PA. 4-time All-American.
Yep.
I mean, shattered every record at Princeton. I mean, everything. All ACC at Duke. I mean, all Ivy League at Princeton, 2017, 2018, 2019. I mean, ranked at second in NCAA history all time. I mean, this dude is one of the greatest dudes that I know. I didn't know about the sport lacrosse until I met him. And I'm extremely excited to present him to you guys. Michael Sowers, what's up, man?
What's going on, fellas? Thanks for having me, man. It's crazy to be here. Watching you guys build this thing. It's been awesome. So excited to be here today.
It's good to have you here, my brother.
Hell yeah, man. You represent. You really, really represent what we try to bring here on this show, the Keep Going podcast, man. You fought through every odd. I mean, went to an Ivy League school, went to a different school, got your master's. I mean, come on, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna get into it. I'm too excited. I know so much about him. I just want the people to know more about him. Like, I feel like you've been such a legend here in PA and all over the world, in the lacrosse world. I want people to hear from you. Like, what is it like to walk in Michael Sowers' shoes, man? What it's like, man? Talk to us, man.
I mean, I think first of all, it's been an amazing journey for me. And, you know, in a lot of ways, I've experienced so much, particularly in the sport, and super grateful for all my experiences. But in a lot of ways, I still feel like a kid. You know, today, for example, out on the field with a group of high school and college kids, that's the best part of my day.
Yeah.
You know, lifting this morning with Kenny, still doing the same things that I was doing when I was 14, 15, 16 years old. So just, you know, super grateful to still be living this life and really blessed in so many ways.
Yeah, and it's crazy too, right? Because like, and I'm sure for you too, like when you win it, you don't even look at it like that.
No, you don't.
You know what I mean? But like from the outside person looking in, like for me, for example, when people know that I train, you Michael Sowers trainer, it's crazy from my perspective, because it's like, dang, bro, they really look at you like a legend.
No,
And like just to see that, be like, dang, like crazy, bro.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's hard for me to take a step back, and I'm sure you guys are the same way.
Yeah.
You know, you're just so focused on, and I think that this is what has allowed me to have success. I'm so focused on the day-to-day and the minute-to-minute and the hour-to-hour that you lose sight of the big picture. And I think, you know, a lot of times loved ones and friends and coaches and mentors constantly encourage, you know, take a step back, and which I think is healthy at points. But again, like, I think just the way that we're all wired, it's hard to do that.
No,
you know?
1,000%, man.
Yeah, cleaner,
1,000%. We all sit here as cleaners, man. As we hop into things, I want to dive a little deeper first. Like, we usually do something when you first get to a team where I used to play. They always used to ask this one question. They always say, state your name, what school you went to. But they always would say, what's something interesting that nobody knows about you? Like, what's something that, like, you can't Google, you can't look it up? What's something about you that nobody knows, man?
On the spot. I'm somebody, I mean, I don't have like a crazy fun fact. My boy at Duke, he got bit by a shark, and I would always go after him, introducing, and it's like, how do you follow that up?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have anything like that's crazy interesting about me.
Yeah.
I think like I'm a pretty simple person. Like I work, I love hanging out with my friends and family, you know, and I kind of just go about my business.
Yeah.
I think this isn't like a fun fact, but just one thing about me, and you guys know this, is just like I'm very family oriented. You know, like love being in the city, coming out on weekends, spending time with my family, going to football games, supporting my dad, my brothers, just the same way that they supported me. I mean, that's a huge part of my life, and you know, really kind of anchors everything that I do.
That's what's up, man. That's a good answer, yo. Shoot, that's the best answer.
Yeah.
As we hop into things, man, we want to hit the main thing, man. Like, what sparked the love for lacrosse, man? Like, what did it for you, bro? Like, what was?
I mean, I was super blessed growing up, and I think that in a lot of ways, like, I think that I was kind of built to play sports.
Yeah.
I grew up from my earliest memories are in high school locker rooms.
Yeah.
My dad was a football defensive coordinator, coached football at Hatboro Horsham, coached lacrosse at Hatboro Horsham. So for as long as I can remember, in the fall, I was in the football locker rooms with the high school guys.
Yeah.
In the spring, I was in lacrosse locker rooms with the guys.
Yeah.
You know, I remember sitting down when I was in kindergarten, first, second grade, and drawing up plays with the coaching staff. You know, and so I think that what really I think developed my passion for sports was just like seeing the brotherhood that is formed in those locker rooms and the camaraderie, and you know, just wanting to be one of the guys and hanging out and working towards a common goal. And then, you know, I think that what drew me to lacrosse, and when you used to have to write down what you wanted to be when you were older, it always depended on the season for me. In the fall, if you asked me, I would have said a professional football player. In the spring, if you asked me, I would have said a professional lacrosse player.
That's what's up.
I think for me, the reason that I went the lacrosse route, one, I wasn't blessed to be 6'4" and jacked and run a 4.5 40. Otherwise, I might be playing on Sundays. But
even though I still thought you could play on Sundays.
Well, thanks,
we'll
bro.
talk about that.
Thanks, bro. But I think one thing that I always loved about sport or lacrosse particularly is the skill aspect of the game. You know, like football, so much of it is just your natural ability. And it's the ultimate team sport. I've always believed that. But lacrosse, practices were the best because you're always trying out new things. It's like hoops, you know, like you've never reached your full potential. And I even feel that now at 27 with all the lacrosse that I've played, like I'm still getting better and I still have so much further to go. And so I think that I just love that. And like I saw it at an early age, like there was a direct translation between the time you put in with the stick and what you got out of it. And I don't think you can say that about many things. You know what I mean? Like I just worked hard and I loved it at an early age. So, you know, it was the skill aspect for me that just like drew me in.
Now talk about, you know, because you didn't just play lacrosse and you mentioned football, but talk about that too. Talk about all the different sports you played at a young age, and when did you decide, all right, lacrosse was going to be my thing? You know what
I mean, it's a great question because I think that so many kids struggle with it now and parents are pushed to focus on one sport so early. I can say that I got to where I am because I played multiple sports. And part of it was the skill that you acquire from playing other sports. Like in lacrosse, one thing that makes me unique, I dodge like a football player. All my moves come directly from a football field. But I also think that more important, like growing up, I played baseball, I played soccer, I played basketball, I played football. And I think that that allowed me to do is like find my passion or back into, okay, I love lacrosse for this reason. You know, like because I tried all those other sports, it's like, all right, I know that I tried baseball, didn't love it. Played soccer, didn't love it. You know, played basketball, and basketball was the best, but still there's that natural ability to it. And I just didn't have it. And then, you know, I think that probably around middle school is when I really started to realize like, okay, you know, maybe the NFL is out of the question. And I'm pretty good at this lacrosse thing. And I've always been blessed with talent and I love playing it. You know what I mean? And so I think that at that point, it kind of became, all right, like this is more than just a passion. This is something that I'm going to pursue. And I think then in high school, I took a step forward with that. And there was some experiences that kind of forced me to take that step where it turned from a passion or something that I just love to do to a little bit more of like an intentional purpose, you know, like this is what I'm really going to do.
And we had a Coach Clem come on too. And we asked him the question, do you like football players who are multi-sport athletes? And he said he loves them. Because at the end of the day, me as a trainer, I tell parents all the time, like, whether you playing football, lacrosse, soccer, hockey, whatever, it's going to naturally make you a better athlete in general anyway. And then, like you said, when you get older and you decide what sport you want to play, that's when you kind of tap into the skill of that sport. All right, I'm locked in on this sport.
For sure. And I think that playing all those sports too, it allowed me to peak at the right time.
1000%.
Like I didn't peak. Hopefully I still haven't peaked. But I really kind of reached, you know, the I started playing at a super high level around my junior year of high school,
Yeah.
junior summer of high school.
Yeah.
You know, and like had I started to specialize in lacrosse at an early age, that might have happened in 7th grade.
That's a good point.
Right? But because again, I learned decision making from basketball.
Yeah.
Right? I learned how to move from football. I learned how to be physical, how to be tough from football. You take all those things and then
put
you
it into where you was trying to
exactly.
really go to.
Exactly.
So I definitely want to talk about that, man. I want to hop into that next, man. Like, what were some of the challenges that you faced growing up in the sports? Like, what made you make the decision? Was it like I was too small? Was it I wasn't quick enough? What was it that challenged you when you was growing up that you were just like, man, like this is the edge that I need to take me to the next level?
Yeah.
Like when I was growing up, it was always you were too slow or you weren't big enough at one point. Like what was that thing for you that just drove you to like you couldn't sleep at night?
It was always the size thing for me. I was always the smallest kid. And early in football, you're playing weighted football. You're older. I was like an older lighter, so you're playing down,
Yeah.
right? But then when you get to middle school, I was always the smallest kid on the football team, on the lacrosse team,
Yeah.
and athletically, I matured so much later than everybody else.
Yeah.
And it killed me because skill-wise, I was there with everybody, you know, if not ahead of my peers, but I just couldn't dominate the game like I used to be able to when I was younger because I wasn't there athletically. But looking back on it, and I say this to kids all the time now because I see kids that go through the same thing.
Man.
It was one of the best things that ever happened to me, as frustrating as it was, because I had to learn how to dominate the game without doing it athletically.
1000%.
So from a skill aspect, right? My skills had to be on another level.
Yeah.
Mentally, my IQ had to be on another level.
Yeah.
Right. So I learned how to, for example, I learned how to feed and distribute the ball without ever beating somebody.
Yeah. Come on, man. Talk to us, man.
You know, so
Yeah.
that I think that was a huge part for me.
Yeah.
And then obviously as you get older, again, I think my athleticism started to click around my sophomore, junior year. And that's when I really started to, I always had great feet.
Yeah.
I was never the fastest, but I really kind of started to come into my body a little bit.
So junior year is when you start tapping in.
Junior, yeah, I think
That's kind of when it hit for me too. Like when I got to like junior year, senior year, that's when things started to kind of make sense. Like in high school, but I still didn't have a bunch of offers though. I still only had Division III schools and stuff like that. I want you to talk about that. Like how, you talk about you being a late bloomer and you took different steps to get to where you was trying to go. Like what was that process from high school to get to college? Like
I mean, it was exactly that. It was a process, and even taking a step back when I was going through the recruiting process, it was when the lacrosse recruiting process was out of control. So we were getting recruited as freshmen in high school. If you weren't committed by your freshman year summer, you were doing something wrong. So I remember growing up, I was always an ACC fan. I always wanted to go to Duke, UVA, UNC, play, in that conference. That was always viewed as, kind of the blue
Top
bloods.
tier,
Exactly. And when I was going through the process, I never heard from those schools. And if I did, it was, hey, you can come play here, but we have no scholarship money.
Yeah.
And I remember going through the process, it killed me because again, I always wanted to go play in the ACC, but I remember my dad, one thing that always stuck with me is like everything's going to happen for a reason. Everything's going to work itself out for the right reasons. And I ended up getting like an official offer from Princeton in the summer of my freshman year, committed that fall. And, it ended up being the best thing for me. Now, I committed to the program. I had a long way to go with
we're gonna talk about it.
With my grades. For those, this is an interesting fact. I took the SAT 9 times.
Wait, hold on. For real.
I took the SAT 9 times.
People need to know that, man. Like, yo, that's a pivotal,
my mom can attest to this. My tutors, I had a math tutor and I had an English tutor to get between my sophomore year and my senior fall, I either was taking an SAT or I was taking a practice SAT. I could probably count on one hand the amount of weekends I missed taking an SAT.
Oh my goodness.
Between practice and regular. I used to show up and the people that would administer the test would be like, what is this guy doing back? Like,
That's crazy.
like we've been seeing you here for 2 years.
Yo, that's a fun fact that nobody
Yeah,
knows
that's
about you,
crazy.
bro. Like, yo, I
crazy.
would have never even thought that, bro.
So, I had a lot of work, but again, I was so much better because of it.
Yeah,
you
for
know what I
sure.
mean? Like, it made me a better student. I learned how to manage my time. You have to make sacrifices.
Yeah.
You can't go out with your buddies until 2 a.m. and expect to show up the next day and do well on an SAT.
Yeah, man.
So I was able to learn some of those things at a young age, just,
through that process.
exactly,
Yeah,
the hard
yeah.
way. Yeah.
And I want you to also talk about too, bro. Like you said, back then people was committing that freshman year, right? Nowadays people like, what is it, September 1st of junior year?
Yeah.
Can you talk about like the kids who don't get that call? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't get that call, and because I deal with a lot of them. They, they get down on themselves because they see everybody else committing. Like you said, you saw a lot of kids committing and stuff like that. What advice do you have for those kids who are not getting that call, and what can they do to get their game up and just stay locked in?
Well, I think first of all, I think it's important to say that it's normal to feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that way for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Come on,
But man.
I think that the most important thing for those guys is the commitment, the recruiting process. It's not the end of the road. It's really just the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And I would give the same advice that my dad gave me. Everything's going to work itself out
Right.
for the right reasons, as long as you're committed to the process.
Right.
And like at that point, I think it's like, all right, this is something that I want to do,
Mhm.
right? And it's just day-to-day consistent work, and the results and the commitment and the college stuff, that'll take care of itself when I get there. You know what I mean? But I think when you just stay committed to the process, it's cliche, controlling what you could control,
100%.
right? It's gonna work itself out for the right reasons.
Bro, that's what
you
I
know?
be saying. Cause I be like, bro, y'all juniors. You
Yeah.
got the whole junior season. Well, you
Definitely.
got the fall.
Yeah.
Cause college, they be doing stuff in the fall. Then you got the spring.
Yep.
Then you still got that whole summer. Then you still got the whole senior season.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
never too late.
No
you know
doubt.
what I
And
mean?
I also think, to my dad's point of everything working itself out for the right reasons, had I gone to, I stepped into the perfect situation at Princeton because I had to go in and work for it, but I was able to start as a freshman.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You go to UNC, UVA,
Yeah, you ain't starting.
you're getting buried
Yeah.
probably on the end of the bench. You
Yeah.
have seniors that were top 10 recruits, and Princeton's a top 10 program
Yeah.
now.
We're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, but
Save it.
Yeah, all right, I'll save it. I'll shelf it. I'll shelf it.
We're
Yeah.
gonna get to that. I want to hop into the relationship of Kenny and Michael Sowers. I like, because I think it's super important, because you guys started something that a lot of people don't even really know about, and how deep rooted it really is. Because to be honest, bro, I never knew anything about lacrosse until I met both of y'all. I had no idea. I'm from the projects in Philly, bro. Like, we ain't hear nothing about no lacrosse.
Yeah.
So just being around you and being around that kind of energy, going to your games and doing this and doing that, man, it was truly, truly special. But we're gonna hop into this first picture video segment. And it's a you and Kenny, man. Yeah. Hey. I want you to talk about the relationship, talk about how it was formed. I mean, it took all these years for you to sign that wall, but you should have been the first person to sign it.
Yeah.
But just talk about this experience. Talk about everything, man. Both of y'all, man.
Nah, yeah. I can start it off first. And first, bro, I want to give a shout out to Wilcox too before we even
Yeah.
start. You know what I mean? Because that was we met him at the wedding. But
Yeah.
Wilcox, I met Wilcox probably when we first started training.
Yeah.
And it was no bad blood. You know what I mean? Some trainers be
Yeah.
feeling some type of way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He had him first, and he built Mike. You feel me? From the ground up. I don't know if we're gonna talk about the USA trials and all
We will.
stuff like that, but that was his first trainer who he really was with.
Yeah.
And really, set the groundwork with him.
Yeah.
I came in his freshman year of
Freshman year.
freshman year, bro. It was my first year training, bro. My first year training, and I always was the guy that trainer in my head when I first started training. I never wanted to be known as the football guy.
Yeah.
I never wanted to be known as just one type of trainer. I wanted to train every sport. So, and I spoke this to in existence too, because I was in Cabo and I was training T. Smith and Ty Smith and whatever. Brett Baskin hits me up as soon as I gets back. You know Brett. He played for Hopkins at the time.
Yep.
That was my first lacrosse dude. Next thing you know, I'm posting stuff on Instagram with lacrosse. Probably like not even a week later, Mike hit me up in the gram. And Craig be trying to say like he want the, you know what I mean? Craig be like, yeah, I'm the reason why Mike hit you up. But really
it was Brett.
You know what I mean, made that connection. And then, you know, from the first session, bro, it was on go. You know what I mean? And this was when I was crazy, Reds. Waking up at 4, hills, and he was with it. And from that day, bro, we was just working out every day. Me not even knowing what I'm doing.
Yeah, you was
I mean, I'm like, yo, bro, we had the ladders at the front of the
Literally running into the net.
at the front of the net, bro.
I always tell that story.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, bro. And from there on, bro, it's just been like somebody, not even just like a trainer client relationship.
Yeah.
I look at him as like my brother now, bro. Close to his family. He pushed me, I pushed him.
Yeah.
And we literally like was growing together.
Yeah.
I mean, he had the feet.
Yeah, he had
like I just felt like
he was polishing.
with me bringing in, it was just building that mentality even more, you know what I mean? So and you know, changed the game.
Changed the game, yo.
Yeah. I mean, I think Kenny hit it spot on. I think, you know, my first impression with Kenny that first summer was just, I mean, exactly what his brand is. The guy's just like relentless.
Yeah.
And, you know, what I always loved early about Kenny is, you know, he would say, all right, we're getting up at 4 a.m. and then we're back out there in the afternoon. And he never once canceled. You know, when he's not working out, he's the one training.
Yeah.
Like he's putting others' best interest in front of his own, trying to get them to the best level. And I saw that summer, and I was, you know, I just remember thinking like, this guy is something special.
Yeah.
And, you know, really it just ever since then, you know, I think like he said, you know, we've been super close. And I think more than anything, we're just like-minded.
Yeah.
You know, like he wants to be the best version of himself.
Yeah.
He wants others to be their best version of themselves. And that's something that I'm constantly chasing. And I think that, you know, the best thing aside from all of his knowledge that he has with what he does, the best thing about him is, you know, I don't know in 7 years, 8 years that we've been training, if he's ever canceled on me, other than maybe a couple times when it was raining.
I don't deal with that.
He hates the rain.
Rain and cold, bro.
Yeah.
4 a.m.
Yeah, man.
You know, in the middle of January, we'd be out there running hills. If that was me by myself, I'd never be able to do that.
Man,
and I think developing that mentality, when you're doing that consistently, everybody in college would go home over break and, you know, go put their feet up.
Yeah.
I got to go home to him and we're going 3 a days, you know, over winter break.
Yeah.
When you go back into your spring season, you just have a different edge.
Yeah, man.
You know, and it's like we've been working, we've been ready for this. And I think that, you know, I've been fortunate enough to be around that for 8 years now.
Yeah, bro.
You know, which is crazy.
Man, you know, like just hearing it, man, it just like to share mutual feelings, to hear you talk about it from your point of view. I always be on here giving, you know, Kenny his flowers for who he is and what he does and what he's been building for all these years. To hear you say it out loud, man, it's special, man. Like you really are relentless, bro. And how you started it is how you doing it now. I hear about all the Delaware stories and him traveling all the way down to come see you.
Yeah.
Us competing together. We've been spending a lot of time these last few weeks, bro. Me being around you, man, helped me in my competitiveness, and you talk a lot of trash. It brings the best out of me. I love it, bro. And, you know, we just went to your dad. Your dad got married. That was cool. Just being around you and your family, man, you really are a family dude. You're very, very driven, bro. And I'm definitely glad to have you on the show, man. Like, for real.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up that competitiveness, bro, because I'll never forget. This probably was our best summer too.
Yeah.
That's when we both joined Lifetime. Yeah. And this was going into the senior year at Princeton.
Yeah.
Talking about this one, he chiseled, 6-pack. You know what I mean? I used to call him Big Boy, you know what I mean? Yeah. got a 6-pack that summer, he looking ripped. Yeah. But we would go to Lifetime every day. Mm-hmm. We would lift first, and we would play one-on-one basketball. One-on-one basketball for 2 hours at least. First to 3 games, up to 7, bro. We used to go at it every And we do it to this day too.
Yeah.
I can't wait until, if you get married one day, I got a crazy speech for him. Because he almost had to get stitches and I mean, like,
yo, that is a crazy story, yo. He a hack too. He a whack, bro. He be acting crazy in there. But yeah, man.
Love, bro.
Let's go to the next thing, man. We spent a lot of time and we talked about college. We've been going back and forth about the college thing. Princeton, man. You are the all-time leader at Princeton, man. The awards, the accolades, man. Talk about your time at Princeton and what it meant to you to go to that school, bro. That's an Ivy League school. Let's just get that straight.
Yeah, bro.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
Like,
it's crazy to me. I mean, growing up, I never thought of myself as an Ivy League kid, coming from Upper Dublin.
Yeah.
It's a good public school, but they're not sending kids to Princeton.
Yeah.
Again, the way that I looked at it, when I committed to the school, obviously you hear about the academics, and the power of the school, but you don't really understand how powerful it is and just how it changes you as a person. And I think that freshman fall when I went to Princeton, it was the most uncomfortable that I've ever been in my life.
Man.
I had the worst lacrosse season that fall of my entire life. People don't know this. I was 5th on the depth chart coming out of that fall. I played horrible, and it was just because everything in my life was new. School was so hard.
Yeah, man.
Socially, it was so different. And usually you have a hard day and doesn't matter, you get to go home to your parents at night and everything, you kind of decompress a little bit. There, you're never, I never was able to decompress. And it just felt like I was spinning all the time. And, it was tough, but I think, eventually, being a competitor. I remember, my mom driving up on average Tuesday nights just to kind of calm me down.
For real.
And so again, just being a competitor at points, eventually you're like, you know what? I got to rise to the challenge here. A lot of people sacrificed a lot to put me in this spot. And, I sacrificed a lot and, you kind of just like put your nose down and start to work. And I think that that spring I was able to get, a hold of things and just kind of went in with a different perspective of like, you know what, I'm here, I might as well embrace it. And ended up having a great fall. And again, I was surrounded by a lot of great people. It's the one thing about Princeton, the people are just from the upperclassmen to the coaching staff.
Yeah.
Everybody was just amazing and kind of, really groomed me for that role and ended up having a great season. And then that kind of parlayed into a great career. And, unfortunately, we didn't have a ton of team success, which was always tough because, I always looked at it, especially early on. And I think it's like a little immature of a perspective, but it was the way it's like, if I'm doing my personal best, then that is the best for the team.
Yeah.
And I'm doing everything I can. And it took me until I was older, really a junior, late in junior year, senior, to realize like this is bigger than yourself. And I think I got great advice as a leader going into that senior year where it was like, your legacy that you leave here isn't going to be about the statistics that you leave and the records that you break. It's going to be about the impact that you have on others, particularly the younger guys, and how far you can bring them along. And the one quote that I always remember was, the mark that you leave isn't measured by, how bad the team does the next year trying to fill your role, but it's about, can they maintain and are they able to continue to keep going at the same level? And that starts with the culture. And we had a great group, but I think, I really changed my perspective as a leader as I got older there. And, again, you only grow through the hardships and learning. You enjoy success all the time, and it's tough to learn from it. I've always been somebody that learns from losses and hardships, So
now, was you the guy going in there though? Like, was you like from Upper Dublin going into Princeton? Did you have like that name going in?
Always remember, a healthy way of living is the best kind of living. Always choose Bites and Blends. It's the healthiest way and the only way to win. Come on, man. Located in Dresser, PA. And don't forget to download the app. Come on, man.
I did going in because I I was coming off of U19 gold medal. We had just won with Team USA, which was kind of like my coming out party in the lacrosse world. But honestly, it was the worst thing that could have happened because we won the gold medal in August. We reported to Princeton in September, and I just went in out of shape. I was kind of reading the press clippings a little bit, didn't train like I probably should have trained. And, that kind of kickstarted a really tough fall for me, especially the first couple of practices, I was so worried about catching my breath. I couldn't even focus on what was going on from a lacrosse standpoint. I was bent over in every single drill. I'd never experienced anything. I was used to sleepwalking through Upper Dublin practices, So
while we're on the subject of that, like, we have a lot of people who don't know anything about lacrosse. Like, what position do you play? What's a practice like? Like, how does it go, man? It's simple. What's other sport is it similar to? Because I know it's a little similar to hockey with you guys changing fields. Like, that was a big difference for me. I'm watching, like, all right, how do I figure out this game? If somebody doesn't really know about the game, like, what would you say to them?
So, me personally, I play attack, which is essentially like on the offensive end. You have 3 attack on the field, 3 middies, and then 3 defense, and 1 goalie in net. What I always say to people is, lacrosse is something, the rules can be a little specific, but, I think it's such a great sport to watch because it's a blend of so many different things. It has the physicality of football. It has the skill aspect of hockey and basketball. A lot of the schematics offensively overlap with basketball concepts. So I think that it really just blends so many sports together. And I think that, I would encourage people to watch it, as it continues to grow. It'll be in the Olympics for the first time in 2028.
1000%.
That'll be a huge moment for the sport. And then, hopefully we can continue to grow it. And we've always talked, I think the next step for the sport is, growing to the inner cities. For lacrosse to be a mainstay, I think with the other sports, like, you need your best athletes playing. And that's not only in the suburbs, like you need the inner city kids playing the sport. And I think that, one of the things that so many people have tried to do, and really there's so many great organizations out there, but we've done some stuff just volunteering and providing resources down to those kids, because you think about, I always remember, playing the Mount Airy Bantams and the Overbrook Monarchs, and seeing those athletes, and it's like, damn, thank God we don't have to play these kids in lacrosse because they would be crazy, But I think that for lacrosse to take the next step, it has to get to the inner cities.
Oh, yeah, man. The game is truly evolving, bro. And you've been seeing it up close and personal, man. You talk about, the kids that you train and how it is evolving, especially culturally, too. A lot of black kids are getting into lacrosse as well, too, man.
Yeah, shout out to my boy, Knack. Well, your boy, Knack. I got a chance to train Knack in Dallas, and just knowing his story, he was an inner city kid, and hopefully we'll get him on the show soon too.
1000%.
And he was just saying how, like, he just fell in love with the sport. He was a football guy, and then one of the organizations he was in had him play lacrosse, and he didn't stop with the stick in his hand. And I think in order for that to happen, organizations like Harlem Lacrosse, they do a good job. And even me, bro, I can be the source to advocate and just, do free camps in the city or in the Philly area and all around the world. Maybe that can bridge the gap too. So, bro. The sport has definitely grown.
It's definitely grown, man. I remember the one time we went to a Princeton game when you were playing. I thought that was the coolest experience in my life. Live. If you don't know about lacrosse, I'm telling you, these dudes be hitting, checking. I mean, energy flying around. Like, you saw the highlight tape in the beginning. This dude be out there acting crazy, man. Like, you really will be entertained watching this game. Like, to be honest, when I have kids, because I'm going to say it because I know we've been joking about it. When I have kids, my kids are playing lacrosse 1,000%. 1,000%. Let's go to the next thing, man. When it pertains to, you went to Princeton. You did the whole thing. You were the man. You did everything. And then you went to Duke. Talk about the 5th year that you took to go to Duke and how that all transpired. And you talked about that was a place that you wanted to go and the ACC and the energy behind it. Come on, man. Talk about it, man.
Yeah, I mean, that year was crazy. You know, that was it was a super unique experience. You know, loved it for sure. But you know, that was coming off of COVID. You put in 3 years, 3.5 years at Princeton, and my senior year, again, we didn't have a ton of team success leading up to that year. But when the season got canceled, we were 3 in the country. We were 5-0. We had just beat UVA, who was a defending national champions down in Charlottesville. So we just had like such momentum, and it just seemed like everything was finally starting to come together. Yeah. No, I mean, we had so much momentum, and really just like a great group. And you know, COVID hit, and you know, at the time we were going to try and withdraw from school and then return to Princeton. Unfortunately, the school kind of closed that door, and we had to transfer. And so it was unique because I was trying to graduate from Princeton. I was finishing writing my thesis, which was a 110-page paper. And, you know, trying to figure out, all right, what am I going to do with this 5th year? So I remember, you know, Zooming with coaches, and it was super unique because you're making this decision about where am I going for a full year, you know, and going to compete with another group of guys, and you can't leave your house, you know. So I'm Zooming with these coaches and watching YouTube videos and looking at pictures, trying to get a feel for, you know, the school and the culture of the team, and, you know, games stylistically, how do they play? And, you know, it just seemed like as I was going through the process, Duke made the most sense, you know, like academically, it was exactly what I wanted. You know, they were, they've always been kind of the top of the sport. Legendary coach and Coach Sanowski, who was our Team USA coach. And then also, you know, one of my best friends from Princeton, who was also my roommate and my line mate at Princeton. We kind of had a great connection. Phil Robertson, he was going to Duke. His brother was on the team. So I already kind of had like a core group of guys down there.
Already knew.
Which I think was huge. You know, like you're going in for 1 year. I think I always felt like you wanted to know people. And the year was crazy. I mean, you're in COVID. You know, you can't practice with the team. You can't lift with the full team. You can't be at the locker room at the same time. You're getting COVID tested. You can't have parties outside of it. So it was just a super unique year. I think, you know, all things considered, we ended up making it to the Final Four that year. And we got a lot of, you know, I know a lot of people had stuff to say about us on social media because on paper, we were one of the most talented teams honestly, that were ever assembled. You know, you look down that roster and it was just loaded. But, you know, we had so many newcomers that year. And unfortunately, you guys know how it is in sports. Only one team ends their season in a dog pile. You know, so just to be in a Final Four, given all them circumstances, I think was a huge accomplishment. And, you know, I was able to make some great relationships that I'll have for the rest of my life. And me personally, one of my goals always, you know, as a kid, kind of the pinnacle of the sport had always been the NCAA Final Fours. It's a huge weekend for lacrosse. And being able to play in one, you know, I remember walking out there and like, rarely do I have these like moments where you're kind of like looking around and you get the chills. That was certainly one of them. So, you know, I think that it was just an unbelievable, you know, experience. And I learned so many things from the year too, and learned a lot about myself, and, you know, was able to take a lot of things away from it, but wouldn't have traded it for the world. So it was a great experience.
That's love, man. Just hearing about that, man, like, talk about you leaving, like how hard it was for you to leave Princeton. Was it hard for you to leave? Was it something that
it was extremely hard? I mean,
I bet, because you spent 3 years
for
there,
sure,
bro.
And you know how it is. I mean, you kind of put your heart into something, and you know, you're so focused on one thing in one program, and then to turn around and compete for the same thing for another program. It was a crazy concept for me, but it was just the reality of it, you know. And like, my dad always said since I was little, you know, lacrosse is an avenue to get an education that you would never be able to get had it not been for the sport. So the that was an opportunity again for me to continue my education and get a master's from the business school down there.
Come on, man. Come
so,
on, man.
You know, and
you got a master's from Duke,
from Duke, and then undergrad from Princeton. And you know, if you told me that as an 8th grader at Sandy Run, I probably wouldn't believe you.
Like, do you? All right, listen. How do you feel when you walk into these rooms? You walk into these places. Like, I got a Princeton degree. Do you slap it on the table, or do you just vibe and just be cool about it and be humble? Because I tell you this: if I had a Princeton and a Duke degree, shoot, boy, you wouldn't be able to tell me nothing.
I mean, you know me, bro. I definitely am not slapping it on the table. I am. It's something that I'm proud of, and again, I'm so focused on like the minute to minute. Sometimes I forget to like take a step back. And, you know, for me, that was a huge accomplishment because I struggled in school early. Elementary school, middle school. I was a good student, but I certainly wasn't great. And I certainly wasn't Ivy League. But I think, again, what I learned through that process is just like, if you commit to something, you can really do anything. And I mean that, like, if I'm able to
where's the come on button? Where is it? I don't even know where it is, but I wish I could find it.
If I'm able to get through Princeton, and I was a better student, I had a 3.5 coming out of Princeton, finished my thesis, wrote 110 pages. Before Princeton, I had never wrote a paper longer than 4 pages.
Right.
So, you know, it just kind of showed me, like, if you commit to something, you're able to really do anything. You're sitting alongside the smartest kids in the world.
Yeah.
You know, when you're engaged in conversation with them. Exactly. Arguing with them over, you know, whatever academics we were studying. But it was a great experience.
Yo, that's crazy, bro. That culture sounds, I don't think I would fit in.
I mean,
bro.
we was at the tailgate, bro.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, I went to Del Valle, bro. Like,
listen, I'm telling, like, I think as a competitive person, and all 3 of us are wired this way, if you're put in an environment, you're gonna want to come out on top, and you're wired to be that way. And that's exactly how I was. Early on, it was such a culture shock that I struggled in every facet. But eventually, you figure it out. You learn how to work. You learn what works. You learn how to manage your time. And I did that. And again, so much of it, right, going back to our relationship and having the, like, so much of it is the people you're surrounded by.
1,000%.
You know, and it certainly was far from all me. I had so much help from so many people. But again, as a competitor, like, you seek that stuff.
So as a competitor, man, you did all these things. You went through college, went to Princeton, went to Duke, and then you made it to the pros, man. Made it to Premier Lacrosse League, the Water Dogs. Look at you with the swag, with the energy. I want to talk about that. Where you get this swag from? Where you get that energy from? What you started? Yo, you got kids wanting to be like Mike Sowers. I want to be like Mike. That's crazy, man. So, like, talk about the style. Talk about making it to the Premier Lacrosse League. Talk about just that role that you have with the team and what it means to you to have gone.
I'm going to ask this question,
man.
Give it a being. You felt some type of way you was number 2? Or no?
I mean, I think that naturally, I think you want to go number 1, like anybody that's competitive would want to go number 1. Again, I always went back to what my dad said when I was going through the process, which was, you know, everything happens for the right reasons.
No, you're right.
And again, like, that was a prime example. You know, my first year in the league, the pro league is super unique, because you come right off of your college season and you go right into your professional. So my week leading up to that first pro game was we got killed by Maryland in the Final Four. That was on a Saturday. We lost 14-5. Again, it's like this mixed emotions because your season, your college career just ended.
Everything.
You're playing on the stage that you always dreamed about. You got destroyed in front of so many people on national TV, playing on ESPN. And then you go home and, like, you got to say your goodbyes in 3 days. COVID's still going on. So, you know, you're hanging with the guys for 3 days, not picking up a stick, drinking, doing everything you shouldn't do.
Yeah.
Turn around. I fly up to Boston on Wednesday, start practice with the team Wednesday and
my
Thursday,
goodness, yo.
walk through on Friday, play my first PLL or professional game that Saturday in Gillette Stadium on NBC. And I remember like walking out there, and I just didn't feel right walking out there. Like I'm somebody, I need to be prepared. And I was the furthest thing from prepared. My body just wasn't ready. We ended up getting killed that game again on national TV on NBC. I actually got a severe concussion.
Wow.
Went down with real bad body cramps too. Ended up in the hospital for 3 weeks, or for a week at Mass General, and then came home and ended up missing the entire season because of that concussion. So it was like this. It was like this roller coaster of emotions because you go from getting drafted number 2 to playing in an NCAA Final Four to getting blown out in your first professional game, to getting hurt, to missing the first season. And a crazy thing was I missed one game in high school because I had mono for lacrosse, but I never missed a game before that. Never missed a game.
Yeah.
In any sport. I was on the sideline for my senior year. Football, I was sick for the district championship, but that was the first lacrosse game that I really missed, meaningful lacrosse game. And I missed the entire season. So it's just this like super weird, what does the future look like for me? I still hadn't really like established myself in professional lacrosse. I was able to come back for the last game of the year, actually in Philly. It was the semifinals, and I had a solid game. I didn't play my natural position, but I played well enough where I was like, all right, I can do this. I can play with these bigger guys, because it is real. Like you walk out there and, you're looking at these guys and like they're grown men. You know what I mean? A lot of the defenders are built like NFL strong safeties, 6'3", 225, and can move. So again, unique first year, but then going back to your question of, going number 2 and thinking everything will work out, the second season, we go on to win a pro championship, which was, an unbelievable experience and something that was super special and doing it in Philly.
So how, and just to piggyback off the adversity part, bro, how do you deal with that? Like a lot of times, like we look at the pros as, this high thing, like y'all don't go through stuff. How do you get through the adversity? Like how do you stay locked in when things is down? You know what I mean?
I think that it's a great question. I think everybody has kind of like what works for them. For me, I've always been somebody that, if I break my ankle, I'm focusing on my upper body. If I break my right arm, I'm working on my left arm. You know what I mean? And I'm going to come back. All right, well, I broke my right hand and I can't pick up the stick. So when I come back, I'm going to be unbelievable at throwing one-handed lefty.
Come on, man.
And I think that's just kind of always been, so I've always turned back to the sport, and it's like, all right, well, I'm going to find something else within the sport that I don't usually focus on, that I can focus on now. That summer was unique because it was a concussion thing. And everything I did, I just like couldn't move past the concussion symptoms. So I was like in this kind of like weird place where like I've always fell back on really in everything on sports, and I couldn't really that summer. So I kind of, I just leaned on like family and friends. And honestly, I got away from the sport for a little bit. Like I remember taking like a month almost completely off. And it was really like the first time that I had done that. And it was honestly probably like the best thing for me, because it reminded me how much like it was a part of my life and how much I missed it, and like how big of a role it played for me. And then when I came back, like I was ready to go. So I think that stepping away for a second is healthy too.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's go right into it. We're going to go right to Tokyo. Talk about it. Oh. Come on, man. What's this about, bro? Tokyo, bro. Like, people dream about going there.
We gonna get out there.
Talk about it, man. Wait, hold on. Did you put the stick between your legs, bro? How you do that, bro? Like, what's the...
Well, that was something that we've been working on forever. Always. And I actually think that it has a lot of application. People, I think I was getting ripped a little bit on social media. But I actually think that it has a lot of application. It's similar to like James Harden going between his legs. It's kind of you go between the legs. It freezes the guy in front of you, and then you're kind of blowing by him, like exploding. And so I thought that it had a ton of application. But that I remember we were playing Team Japan in Tokyo. Unbelievable experience. I think that was one of those times where it was like you're sitting there and you're playing. 5,000 people in the center of Tokyo, and you would have thought that we were the Beatles when we first showed up. Like people outside lined up, and it was really just an amazing moment to see like the sport that I love, that I've been playing for so long, like how far it's come. That you have thousands of people waiting outside the bus to meet, you and meet all the players. Like it was crazy. But with that clip particularly, I remember we were up at that point. And I remember going to the huddle. It was like third quarter. And Paul Rabel, who was coaching the squad, gave the message like, hey, listen, like we're up right now, but look around here. Like these people, they have this one chance, a lot of them, one chance in their lives to see you guys play in person. So give them something that they can remember. And I think that I've never been somebody that, wants to showboat or do anything like that. But I do think it's important because, again, the beauty of the game is you never get to that like peak. You're always chasing something new. And that's a prime example. Like there's so many things you can do with this stick. And I think that's what makes the game unique. And that had been something that I was working on. And it just so like happened to and I'm not somebody that like plans for something in the moment. It just like comes to me. You know what I mean? So like there I'm like squared up and I just like do it, and then after, so it was cool.
Man, I remember I was guarding Mike the one time, bro. He might have bounced the ball behind me, caught the ball. He did some crazy. I'm like, people, I posted it on the gram, bro. And people didn't even know what happened. And then I'm like, do y'all not know he just bounced the ball behind my back, caught it with the opposite hand? And I'm like, this is crazy.
Yo, that's tough, bro. You really the MJ at lacrosse, bro. That's really tough, bro. Let's go to Team USA, man. We've been talking about it a lot throughout the show. You guys went and handled business, when you guys went to Team USA with the stuff like that. And talk about it because, it's going to be something big coming in 2028. You talked about it earlier. I mean, you guys are going to be on the big stage, man, in front of the whole world. You going to participate in that?
I hope so. I think I'll be 30, 31 when that happens.
Come on, man. Come on, man. I'm 31. Come on, stop playing, man. You got it in you, man.
And I told you the other day.
You were surprised.
Said you got 3 years,
I didn't even know you still had it. But yeah, bro, I can see you playing in that, man.
I mean, listen, I've always said that that's kind of like the horizon for me and, get there. And that's always been the dream is to play on a stage like that. Yeah. We never knew that the Olympics was possible, but my dream was always to play for Team USA since I was a little kid. I remember watching. I mean, in my opinion, the greatest rivalry in the sport of lacrosse is USA-Canada on the world stage. It happens in every single world games at every level. So just to be like, and again, going back to those moments, like putting on the USA jersey, in that locker room and walking out with the flag and the national anthems playing, like it does have like a different meaning, So I think talking about the experience though, like I'll take a step back, go to the U19 experience because I think that was a huge turning point for me in my lacrosse career. As Kenny said, Josh Wilcox was somebody that has always been in my life. He's kind of like been a big brother trainer, best friend similar to Kenny. Yeah. And, that I remember I had lost my junior year. We had gotten upset by Conestoga in the second round of playoffs. We had a great team, supposed to win the state championship. Yeah. And the entire Princeton staff was there watching me. Wow. And it was one of the few times in my lacrosse career that I think I was shut out in points. Wow. And I remember just being like super embarrassed. And I remember driving to LA Fitness after the game and calling Wilcox. And the USA trials for that summer, I was younger at the time. So I was like on the outside looking in. I definitely wasn't one of the guys that should have made it. Yeah. And I remember calling him and just being like, I don't even know if I want to try out. Like, this is going to be a huge waste of time. Like, I suck right now. And I remember him him saying, like, we're going to commit to it. Whatever happens, happens. And we ended up going 3 times a day from when that season ended in mid-May through the tryouts at the end of June. We would go 3 times a day. We'd be out there in the morning. That was the first time.
I was just about to bring that story up.
Yeah.
So, not to cut you off. So, I didn't even know this, bro. Me and Craig, we at Kutztown. And we used to go to UD. What's that field called? Spark?
Spark, yeah.
We used to go to Spark. I'm talking about, it's like hottest part of the day, bro. Like 2 p.m., sometimes early a.m. It didn't matter. Only people that's on the field, mind you, I'm seeing this little white boy doing the ladders on the, I'm like, dang, I didn't know it was him though. Yeah. But me and Craig on the other side, and what's our boy name? Dang.
Who? Wilcox?
Nah, not Wilcox. You know, our boy who used to always come with Hamels will always come over to Craig.
That's gonna have to cut that out. Hamels is gonna be.
My bad. Nah, bro, my mind going crazy.
Nah, keep it in there.
Hams, my bad, bro. But Hams will always come over to Craig and talk to Craig, But Mike used to be all the way on the other side. And I'm like, yo, who is this dude over there? It used to be us every day on there. Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah. So that was junior year summer. And like Kenny said, that a lot of times that would be our second session. So we would get up at 6 a.m. in the morning. That would be our first session. We usually do conditioning early before it got hot. Then we go back out and we do shooting, or we do footwork, a lot of times agility. And then we go back out at night and we would do shooting. So I had the stick in my hand 3 times a day, and we fit a lift in there somewhere. And Wilcox was with me kind of every step of the way. Yeah. And I just remember going into those trials and having so much confidence.
That's the main thing. Yeah.
I think there was actually a key turning point in that's pretty cool to talk about. The first night, and this is so classic for me, the first night that I was there, I forgot all my bed sheets. And I had missed room check. So you had to be in your room by 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. Jack was down there too. So I was chilling in Jack's room. You had random roommates. And I was chilling in Jack's room until like 11:30, just bullshitting, doing whatever. And I went back down. I'm getting anxiety thinking about this. I go back down to my room and all my roommates were asleep. We had our session. We had 3 days for trials. Yeah. We had a session at 7 a.m. the next morning. All my roommates were asleep and they had turned the AC all the way down. So it was like 55 degrees in the room. And I go into my bag and I didn't have any of my bed sheets. Nothing on the bed. We're sleeping in dorms at Stevenson University. And I didn't sleep a minute that night. And that first day I was super hesitant. Just being around these guys that you had like read about, you know, big names, top 10 recruits. And I wasn't that at the time. I was outside the top 50 for my class and we were one of the younger guys. And I just remember having this like fuck it attitude where it was like, you know what? Like I worked for this.
Yeah.
I'm either going to make it or I'm going to get smoked tomorrow. So I might as well go for it. And that next day was the best that I ever played. And I really felt like I kind of never looked back from there.
Come on, man.
The rest of that summer, again, like, you know, just committing to it. I ended up in the hospital that summer from severe dehydration from the workout. Yeah. So I spent a week in Abington, ended up making that team. And I think that was the first time that I really experienced like, all right, this is pretty unique because like I just put in all this work. I just kind of leveled myself up. So anyway, long story short, we go on, we win a gold medal that summer with the U19 team. Unbelievable experience. And then the summer of 2023, was fortunate enough to do it again with the senior team. On home soil. That was unique for, you know, other reasons, super special because, you know, you're doing it on home soil. I had a ton of family out there. Yeah. Kenny came out.
I'm going to tell my part.
Yeah. Kenny came out and, you know, just doing it in front of so many family and friends, doing it on national TV and with USA across your chest. I got to play for my college coach, Coach Sanowski at Duke. And, you know, just getting to know, I think the unique part about a Team USA is you play with guys that you are rivals with, you know, in the professional leagues and in college. Yeah. And all of a sudden you got to come together for one common goal. Yeah. And I just think it's super unique. And I I think the Team USA experience is super unique. You got to make sacrifices. We had Jay Wright talk to us, and he was unbelievable. I thought he gave an amazing message. And, you know, it was just unbelievable experience and fortunate enough to win a gold.
Yeah, bro. It was so Quat was out there, bro. So I got a chance to see Quat. I got out there. I went out there by myself too. Like, got to see Quat, but that was at the tailgate. Let me talk about before the tailgate. So I'm out there. You know me. Every time I'm in a different city, I'm trying to train. I'm hitting people up. Trying to train. So I go. Where was that? San Diego College.
San Diego University.
University. Yeah. So I'm driving. So I see this one lacrosse dude. He looked mad familiar. But he played for Team Canada.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to him and I'm like, yeah, man, like, where the field's at? I'm trying to, you play lacrosse? Yeah, well, yeah, I train Mike, da-da-da. We should get together, whatever.
Yeah.
Talk to him. I go down on the field. I'm training these football dudes, bro. Football kids. I'm out there.
Grind.
Yo, boom. Next thing you know, yo, this Mike. I'm like, yo, what are the, mind you, I didn't talk to him.
Oh, you didn't even know he was there?
No, I didn't talk to him at all. The game was later that day.
Wow.
And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. This is God.
It was God, bro. That was a fate
So
moment, bro.
boom, that I'm telling his parents and all, yo, I saw Mike earlier. It was crazy, bro.
Yo, that's love,
But
man.
that was a dope experience though, man.
Yeah, man.
Definitely a dope experience.
I want to share one of these videos, but there's another video of you speaking about who kind of influenced the Dodge for you. You know, I mean, I think you're the Michael Jordan of this thing, man. Like we can say Allen Iverson of this thing, man. Like you really, man, you paved the way for a lot of kids when it comes to what you're doing with your feet, what you do with the stick. Talk about this video, man. Well, it's going to play.
My favorite athletes growing up was Allen Iverson, and I think, you know, his crossover is still famous to this day. And I remember, you know, watching him cross over and then going out in the backyard and trying to replicate the same footwork with the lacrosse stick in my hand.
Michael Sowers. The speed, the footwork, so tough to stop, Carr.
Talk about it, Philly kid. You ain't from Philly. You from outside of Philly. Let's clear that up. But you a Philly kid, though. I give it to you.
And Philly people can say that. Philly people can say that.
1,000%, bro.
The AI to me is the GOAT, though.
Nah, yeah,
and
bro.
He was my favorite athlete growing up. And I think obviously the footwork is a huge part of it. But I think more than anything, what I took away from AI is the mentality.
Yeah.
He was a killer.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that you watch him, you see some of those pictures of him, like, you know, that, what was it, 01, taking the Sixers to the finals. Like, he carried that team, you know, and like, I think that he's just a GOAT, and, you know, you're able to take so much from him and translate it with a lacrosse stick. You know, like, I think now he's just the best.
No, that's love, bro. As we hop into things, man, I want to ask you this one question about advice to young athletes. And I think you answered it earlier, man. When it comes to like chasing their dream in the sport of lacrosse, and, you know, there's a lot of kids who look up to you, bro. There's a lot of kids who look at Michael Sauer and say, I want to be just like Mike. You know, if you could look into the camera and tell him something, what would you say to him?
I think, well, I would take a step back. I think the most important thing for young athletes is to find their passion. That could be lacrosse, it could be football, it could be soccer, it could be basketball. But if you don't have that passion for it, at some point, things are going to get really tough and it's going to be hard to continue to go. The reason that I've always been able to continue and I've always been able to get better is because at the foundation of everything, I love playing the game. Still the best part of my day. You know what I mean? Like, I could go out right now at 27 years old, you know, I'm about to drive to the shore after this. I could see a field and just go out and shoot for 2 hours, you know? Like, I just love doing it. And it doesn't have to be lacrosse. It could be any sport. But I think for you to be able to get to that level, you have to find that passion first.
1,000%.
Right?
I like that,
And
bro.
then I think that the next step is, once you find that passion, it's just a consistent effort. You know, like Paul Rabel, I think, said this best. I saw him put a tweet out the other day, like, and it really resonated with me. Like, you can't miss a day.
No,
you know, like,
can't, bro.
I can't remember us missing a day in the
facts.
summers.
Nah, facts.
You know what I mean? Like it's an every single day pursuit. And I think that, you couple those two things and you got a great shot.
No, yeah, man. Man, that's cool, bro. And we're gonna hop right into we got a nice little young picture of you back when you were a kid, man. Baby Sowers, man. If you could say anything to that kid right now, man, what would you say, man?
I mean, I've been so blessed. I think what I'm doing right now is what I was dreaming about in that picture. Able to play for 2 professional lacrosse teams and wear Philadelphia across my chest with both those teams. Having my family be able to come to my games now at 27, being able to go out and shoot and work out and continue to work on the sport that I love at 27. Like I'm so blessed. And I think that I'm, living exactly what I dreamed about in that picture right there.
That's love, man. Let's take it a step further, man. You've talked about your dad. You've talked about everything. Talk about what this picture means to you.
Well, that's a tough picture of me.
Yeah,
that right there.
And your relationship with your brothers, all of it.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. I mean, funny enough, I think that was the day that they dropped me off at Princeton.
Dang.
And so that was a tough day for me. And I'm wearing it a little bit right there.
I can tell. I can see it.
But, I think, we just have such a great relationship. And, so much of kind of my anchor in my life has always been my family. The way that I decompress has always been my family, going out and spending time with them, watching sports games, talking sports.
Yeah.
I think that it's just always been kind of like the anchor in my life. And it's allowed me to accomplish, I think, all the things that I've accomplished. Like they've been a huge part, if not, one of the biggest. So
yeah,
I'm just super blessed to have them and, have the relationship that we have.
And that's love, bro.
Yeah. Great folks, man.
Great folks, man. Big shout out to your pops and big shout out to your moms, man. Really good family, man. We like to end every show like this, man. It's the keep going segment. It's basically where you describe a time of your life where you had to pick it all back up, where it really looked like you were, like it wasn't happening. It was down, and you had to pick it all back up, bro. Talk about it, bro.
I would go to, huge turning. I've had a lot of, I think, turning points in my life. One of them being that, with lacrosse specifically, that junior year summer, after kind of getting embarrassed in front of the Princeton staff. I think a huge one for me was the freshman fall at Princeton. I was either going to sink or swim. I was talking to my mom about, I don't know if this is for me, talking about, potentially transferring, and I remember the advice was always to just keep going, get through another day. You know what I mean? And not just get through, but commit yourself to it. And I think that had I not continued to move forward during that time, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. You know what I mean? So I think that it was a challenge for sure, but I'm a better person, better player, was a better student because of the experience.
That's love, man. Throughout our life, man, we always got to find different ways to keep going. Look at the best player in the world, man. You considered the best lacrosse player in my world, bro, in a lot of kids' world. A lot of kids look up to you. Even got one sitting here today. You got Hayden in the building, man, Matt's son. A lot of kids will strongly benefit from hearing your voice, bro. I've watched so many videos over these last few days and just followed your career for the last several years, bro. I'm proud of you, bro. You define everything that we try to represent on this show. You're relentless. You always found a way to keep going. You got 2 degrees from Princeton. You got an amazing job as well. You're all set up, man. But the foundation that you've left, the legacy that you've built, and you're still building it, bro, you're a true inspiration to every little kid, even little girl out there that follows you in your career, bro. I'm extremely proud of you, bro. Continue to lead the way. Continue to be exactly who you are, the natural competitor, the dog that you are, bro. I love being around you, man. You make me a better person. You make me a better player. You make me want to keep going, bro. So big shout out to you, man. As we close the show, continue to walk on this journey with us, y'all. Continue to be with us. Don't forget to continue to keep sticking around, following the episodes, following the podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe. And always remember, man, there's always going to be Showtime Speaks.
What's the matter with you? There is no tomorrow. There is no